Hello everyone, this is ZeedaM Astrology once again bringing you another video in my transit series. Join me on this journey. Sign up, share and subscribe. Should you have any queries or questions at the end of this video, drop me a line at zeta55@outlook.com or check me on my blog at ZeedaMastrology.com. Okay, at ZeedaM Astrology, you know that I do things differently in regard to the transit of the analysis of the grahas or the planets, and I do things differently because of the movement of the planets, where they move either monthly or annually, or like Saturn every 2.5 years. And one of the reasons is that I don't want to give you a routine or boring or just say the same thing over and over again. And I have utilized the union of tarot and Vedic astrology as a method for my analysis in Patra Kundali reading and analysis at ZeedaM Astrology. And this is just a visual for you to understand a little bit of what I'm doing. This is a Kundali or birth chart taken of somebody who's born on May 17th, 1945. And this is their natal chart. And the natal chart shows the ascendant in Leo with Jupiter. So the ascendant in Leo immediately denotes that Leo becomes the first bhava, the first house, the house about you and yourself. Then we have Ketu here in Sagittarius, which is the 5th house. Then we go to Venus and Mars in Jupiter, Mercury in Aries, Sun in Taurus, Rahu and Saturn in Gemini, Moon in Cancer. So you go clockwise in this chart. And this is your natal chart. This is a chart that you cannot change because this is your date and time of birth, predestined for you. This is your fate. This is your lineage. This is your bloodline. This is your ancestor. And with it comes karma from the past life, deeds that were left undone. And it presents itself here for you as your soul's mission. What is it you came on this earth to do on May 17th, 1945? So this is your natal chart, right? And if I don't have your natal chart, then I don't know where your ascendant is, what is your first house, and where the planets are posited for you. And then we come to the transit of the grahas, which is what I do for you on this bi-weekly basis. And this transit, these grahas placement are just arbitrary, you know, it's just to give you a visual. And let's just say that this transit grahas on the day that I'm doing this video on the 17th, that the transit of the grahas reads as how these are. We find Mars in Virgo. Mars is in Virgo, Venus is in Libra, Sun is in Sagittarius, and so forth, so on, so that you see the difference to the natal placement. And when we do transits, transit comes secondary to your dasha. And for the Vedic persons who are aware of what that is, it's just a cycle of life for others. It's a cycle of life that tells you this is the planet or graha that is the main person for you in this period of life, and each graha has a different timeline, so that if I don't even know your Mahadasha, then it makes it even more difficult for me to target you specifically or personally for the transit. This is why I don't do daily horoscopes, and this is why the transit of the grahas in my videos are just generic. It's general. It tells you what the planet is going to give out for that period on that sign. It doesn't speak about the houses. You know, this might be the potential energy for this planet based on its aspects or its placement in the zodiac. It has nothing to do with the bhavas or you specifically, because I don't have your natal chart. So that your natal chart is the foundation for you. You know, it is the foundation that we as astrologers must have for these readings to be targeted to you. So if something resonates in these transits for you and you want to know further about you specifically, then you need to request a chart from ZeedaM Astrology for us to give you that analysis specific to you. So this is the natal and transit, and then I deal with, well, this is just another visual of the zodiac signs, and I put this up here because then I deal with the Dharma Trikona in my tarot readings, and the Dharma Trikona really deals with the fire, earth, air, and water trines, and the Dharma Trikona is your first, fifth, and ninth house. So in this chart here that we are seeing, in this chart we have the ascendant here in Leo. So Leo becomes your first house. Leo being your first house, it would mean Sagittarius is your fifth house, Aries is your ninth house. So this is the Dharma Trikona for the fire trine when Leo is your first house. If Aries was your first house, then Aries will be 1, Leo will be 5, and Sagittarius will be 9. Now with Dharma Trikona, I use the Dharma Trikona because Dharma Trikona is the spiritual angle of your of the aspects of your soul. You know, your first house is your soul's mission. The fifth house is the accumulated merit from past lives, whether it's good or bad, and that is punya purva, as we say in Vedic astrology. And the ninth house is the manifestation of past karma, so that you have those things coming forth in this life for you. And the tradition holds that your dharma is the primary aim of your human life, in this janam. Since your Dharma Trikona gives you the foundation which you develop wisdom and your discretion to pursue the other 3 Trikonas that we find in Vedic astrology. And those Trikonas are the Artha Trikona, the Kama Trikona, and the Moksha Trikona. And the houses here, the Artha Trikona starts with house number 2, then it goes to 6 and 10. Kama starts with 3 and Moksha starts with 4, and it's all 159 apart, but starts at these houses. So your Artha Trikona here for this Kundali that is up here, the second house here is Virgo. So Virgo is going to be your second house, and then the 6th house and the 10th house will create that Artha Trikona, which is wealth, Kama Trikona, which is happiness, and Moksha Trikona, which is liberation. But I don't deal with those specifically in my tarot reading because I focus on the Dharma Trikona because that's your foundation and it's the primary aim of the Purusha Shata, or the zodiac signs in Hindi religion. And then, you know, as we look at the tarot deck, we see wands, pentacles, swords, and cups, and these relate to fire, earth, air, and water. So that we have the fire, earth, air, and water in the tarot deck. We have the fire, earth, air, and water trines in the Dharma Trikona and in the 3 other Trikonas that I showed you. But this is where it comes together. This is the commonality. This is where I feel comfortable in using it. And wands is aligned to clubs. Pentacles and earth is aligned to diamonds. Sword is aligned to spades. And cups is aligned to hearts in the normal plane deck. And as I said, this is fire, earth, air, and water, and this is the source code of astrology. So that the source code of astrology is also found in the tarot deck. And when we use the source code of astrology as a blueprint of our soul, we become architects of our destiny. And remember, destiny can be changed when we use courage, willpower, compassion, choice. Fate we cannot change because fate is our natal placement of the chart. We cannot change our birth date, we cannot change our birth time, we cannot change where we were born on this date and time. But we can change destiny through our actions and choices. And therefore we become the architects of our destiny by using this blueprint of fire, earth, air, and water of our soul. So this is, you know, the timeline that I'm giving you. This is the little explanation, and as a as ZeedaM Astrology is doing things differently, I feel it is incumbent upon me to give you an explanation for you to understand what I do, why I do it, and how I do it. So that I hope this resonates with you. I hope you understand what I mean when I say what I said here, and that my communication was clear. If you should have a question on anything, I am always open to discussion and learning. I have a wealth of knowledge that I have researched, but there is always more to learn. So feel free to send me a line, to comment on my blog, to comment on my channel, and share, sign up, and subscribe. Okay, and ZeedaM Astrology is bringing you the selection of the tarot spreads with its deities and chakras and planets and houses, so that we can move ahead with this video, with this slide for this period. And you know, we always do something different here at ZeedaM. I always like to bring to you something that may or may not spark your interest, pique your viewing, and I ask that you sign up, you share, you subscribe to my YouTube channel and my blog. The first card that we have here for this transit is isolation, the chakra wisdom, isolation, and this is the Vishuddha chakra. So this is about communication, this is about speech, and you know, how you communicate, the mechanisms that you use. It can also be about transportation, about vehicles, so that family may come into play here. And then we have the element of fire, and fire is the element of the last period too. So there's a continuation of themes going on here for this period, June 19th to July 2nd, 2022. So let us now look at the bhavas, or the houses, and recall that your first bhava will tell you where this bhava that we are going to choose will be. So that your first bhava is key. My tutorial on this in my previous slide will tell you how important the bhava is and the placement of the bhava. And here we have the 10th house, or the 10th bhava. So this is about your career, your profession, your status in society. You know, what it is you do, not at what you may like, but what it is you do to earn money, to get through obstacles for your family, for yourself. This is the 10th house. This is your destiny, you know, your profession, your career. And this is what the house that we are looking at. And again, remind you that I must know your first house to know where your 10th house falls. And we have the Graha as Pluto, and we also had Pluto for the last period. So fire and Pluto continues the theme of the last period, and I will need to look at that a little more closely as to probably what was unfinished, what mistakes may have been made, if it is that we did not use our passion as we should, if it is that we used our passion abusively, you know, what it is we do. Were we too energetic and we left people behind, or did we not use our energy and left ourselves behind? So that these are the things we have to look at. And now we are looking at the deity, or the energies that will be the spiritual guidance for us. And that energy comes from Narada Muni, who is the sage of the gods, and his message comes through devotion, meditation, song, music. So that probably the energies are telling us here, you know, look back at ourselves, look back at our relationship with Bhagwan, our relationship with the divine, and probably we need to spend some time with him through song and devotion for this period. Our messages to him, probably we have to do a little puja, probably we have to do a little yagna. What would be our messages to him through this? You know, your personal havan, your personal ritual that you do at home, or you know, if you can afford it in these times, a bigger prayer, bigger puja to invite community, friends, family. So probably that is the message that we have to look at for Narada Muni. And those are the energies. And now we're looking at the tetractys spread. And the foundation here is Lovers. Lovers is the foundation. So it may seem to be a good period. Then we have the Six of Pentacles. The Six of Pentacles followed by the Page of Swords. So okay, Swords. Okay, intellect. Followed by the Two of Swords. So we have some communication here with Narada Muni. Then we have the Knight of Wands. Interesting. Then we have the Nine of Swords. The Nine of Swords. And this is Temperance. Temperance. Then we have, my goodness, the Six of Swords. So we have 4 cards with swords, intellect. Then we have the Eight of Pentacles. The Eight of Pentacles, and the final card is the Three of Swords. So we have a lot of swords, a lot of communication, a lot of intellectual capacity coming through for this period, and let's see what they bring for us. Here, let us look at the transit of the Grahas beginning for June 19th to July 2nd, 2022 at ZeedaM Astrology. And as you can see here from the last period, the only changes that we have is that Venus has moved from Aries to Taurus to join Mercury. So Venus is now in his own home. Sun has shifted from Taurus to Gemini, and this is the only movements that we have in terms of the Grahas. You noted and should remember that Moon moves every 2.5 days, the Ascendant moves every 2.5 hours or 2.5 hours, so that we really don't take into consideration the Moon or the Ascendant in the transit of the Grahas. So that, as you can see, there is little movement between the last period and this period for the transit of the Grahas, which is why I supplement the reading of this with the tarot spread, the tetractys spread. And that tetractys spread gives us the foundation, the power line, harmony, and the material world. It talks about the tree of life from the Hebrew concept. It talks about the Vedic Brahman from the Pythagoras theorem, giving us the mention of the Chandogya Upanishad about that dot, that single entity that gives us life, that creates everything, and then everything evolves from that in terms of the power, the balance, and the coping of everyday life and living of everyday life. So that let us continue and see what the tetractys spread gives us for this period with the transit of the Grahas at ZeedaM Astrology. And for the foundation of the spread, we have the Lovers. And the Lovers deal with relationships. It deals with union. It deals with marriage, spouse, partnerships, and Lovers is the unit card. It's the beginning, and this is an external card where it will tell us that we don't have control over what is going to be happening with our relationships, whether it's going to be created, whether it's going to be dissolved. We don't have control over it. So this period, we just seem to be having to go with the flow in terms of what our relationships will throw out, what our partnerships will be, how we deal with family, and how we deal with our spouse or partners. And the rest of the cards from the tetractys spread with the transit of the Grahas will guide us in a way that we can probably understand how we are to act or behave or think or communicate for this period, because this is what the planets are all about. Saturn is all about work and productivity. Mars is about action. Jupiter is about your wisdom and what you learn. Rahu is illusion. Venus is about beauty, the luxuries in life. Mercury is your speech. Sun is your ego, your family. The Ascendant is you. Ketu is been there, done that. I have gone through that already. I need to be detached and isolated right now. So these are what the grahas tell you. So that this monad unity is telling you that this relationship and this period may be out of your hands and out of your control. People may come into your life, people may leave, partnerships may be created, partnerships may dissolve. But you have to look at how you regard the nature of what it is that draws you or attracts you to another. Do you fully understand why you select the pathways that you do, the partners to take you or be side by side with you in those pathways? You may gain important information about yourself and about the nature of all the relationships in your life if you take the time to analyze or meditate on this. And probably that is what this card is telling you about too, but the other cards will shed some more light on it. But this is the foundation, and the foundation here is the Lovers card. And the Lovers card can also suggest that there is someone interested in you, or someone who is admiring you from a distance, that you are not aware of presence. But this may come to light, because if you see the Lovers card here, the picture depicts a naked man and a naked woman standing up in front of the tree of life and the tree of knowledge. Those two trees in the back here are depicted as the tree of life and the tree of knowledge. And the tree of life and the tree of knowledge comes from the Kabbalistic concept, the Hebrew concept, with the tree of life being that one being created from God, and the tree of knowledge being that created from Lucifer, the fallen angel. So that we have good and bad here. How are we going to view this? The sun is shining upon us. The wings of the angel are there guiding us and protecting us, so that we have divine intervention for us in this week in regard to our relationships, and regard to how we view relationships and how we treat others and how we treat ourselves probably too. So that the Lovers card is the foundation. And the Lovers can also be a view of, probably you have reached that stage to take your relationships to another level, that it's more intimate, and the connection with Adam and Eve and the Garden of Eden and temptations of the flesh may be an issue, so that there is sexual connotations here. Are you feeling that feeling, as we see? So the Lovers card is also a card for moving forward in life. And the appearance here can suggest that whatever you have been planning in terms of relationships, in terms of unions, it might be a good time to move forward with it. But then we have, let us see, we have the Six of Pentacles, which starts with the power line, where you get your power, where you get the dark and light consequences. And the Six of Pentacles speaks about charity. It speaks about the consequences of you not being charitable. And the Six of Pentacles is all about patronage, sharing, generosity, giving assistance, charity, social welfare, as it were. And this is telling you that you need to think about that. You need to think about how you are going to use your resources. And the moon here is in Aquarius, and the moon is the Atmakaraka, in terms of where your soul is desiring for you to be. And your soul is desiring for you to think about the consequences of what you have and how you are dealing with it. Are you going to be a hoarder? Are you going to be greedy? Are you going to share? Are you going to be kind and generous? And the moon here is passive, it's changeable. And the moon is more fluctuating than any other planet, because it is the receiver of energy and takes on the character of the sign that it's in. And right now it's in Aquarius, and the ruler of Aquarius is Saturn, and Saturn is currently in Aquarius. And the moon is at 12 Aquarius, and Saturn is at 0 degrees Aquarius retrograde. So it's telling you, think about how you're working. Think about how productive you can be. Are you productive by hoarding, or are you productive by being generous and sharing and giving assistance? And the moon in Aquarius prioritizes your social life. You know, the air signs are people oriented, and Aquarius is an air sign, you know, and this is it's a deep emotional need for friendship. You know, you enjoy being part of various groups, and the premise here is relationship. So that the Six of Pentacles is also telling you, with the moon guiding you here in Aquarius, it's telling you, be part of a social circle, be part of a union, of a partnership, of be friendship. You know, often you will get the emotional nurturing you need from friends. Your superpower here is bringing people together and making teams work well together. But the moon right now is in the waning gibbous state, which is where we are going towards the dark side of the moon, you know, the Amavasya of the fortnight. That is where, because we have just completed a full moon, so that we are now going towards the Krishna Paksha, the dark side of the moon. And this suggests that, you know, for this period we should allow gratitude and generosity to permeate our minds and actions. And this is how the learning and the lesson from the consequences of this card of the Six of Pentacles. It is telling us to be generous. And then we have the Sun, the power card, that gives us that power line. The moon and the sun gives us that power line, you know, that power line where we get our energies, our mental and physical being is ready to deal with what is coming to us for this period. And the mental card is telling us, share, be generous, you know, give to those around you, be gracious about what you have. Don't, you know, flaunt it in people's mind that you have and they don't. Be generous, be kind. And the sun here is telling us that this is where you plan, because the Page of Swords is telling you that you have plans, you have inspiration, you have courage, but there is mental challenges because you are still on guard. The enemy is at the gate. You are still vigilant. And this is where your body and your soul is. This is where the conflict is. Your mind is telling you to do everything quickly and get out. But that is the sun. That is your body. But your mind is telling you, be gracious, be grateful that you have, and share. And this is how you gain balance. This is how you gain balance through the relationship that the Lovers card is telling you about. Don't be selfish. Don't be greedy. Don't be a hoarder. The Page of Swords is all about intellect, because air again. And the sun here is in Gemini, another air sign. And that air sign is owned by Mercury. So that the sun here is in that air sign. And the air sign is all about communication, intellect, speech, you know, how you deal with communication, the mode of communication that you are going to deal with. And the Page of Swords sometimes starts something but wants to move on, because you are thinking so far ahead that you want to complete an action without really completing it. You start it and then you leave, and you probably leave others in the lurch by not thinking about the present, always looking ahead in the future. And that might be an obstacle for you at this period. Don't start something that you cannot complete. Stay and complete it, so that people feel your generosity, feel that you care, that you empathize, that you want to be in a relationship with them, because the Lovers is the foundation of this period. Don't start something that you cannot complete. Don't start something and then physically leave and emotionally leave, because this sun is in the air sign and it's all about logic, reason, wisdom. And you know, you make friends easily because the sun in Gemini makes friends easily, but then you leave because you want to go off on a new adventure, because you are thinking so far beyond what you currently have, that your planning and your eagerness will leave situations in the present undone. Don't let that happen to you this period. You can be somewhat detached from a situation because you're not paying close attention. You feel that because you have that is Six of Pentacles, you have, and you're sharing, that is enough. The cards are telling you that is not enough. Gemini here, the sun in Gemini with the ascendant is telling you that you have to share your time, you have to share your energies, you have to share your thoughts and emotions with the group, with your partner, with your friends, with your community, for them to feel your giving and your sharing and your generosity. Because this is what Sun in Gemini is all about, making friends. It's not easy to get close to people or the Sun in Gemini, but they don't often stick around. But don't let that be you, because it's the foundation here is relationship. The foundation here is lovers. So Sun in Gemini is telling you that you may want to start something and not complete it and move on, but don't let that be you. The Page of Swords is clarifying the Sun in Gemini for you, that you yourself have to pay attention to the relationships that you are going to forge in this period, or that will be coming to you for this period. And remember, the relationships here are beyond your control, because this is an external card. This is a major arcana card, the Lovers. And then we go to the Harmony line, and here we have the Two of Swords, and the Two of Swords speaks to choices. And again, we see the moon as the graha that is aligned to this Two of Swords, and the Two of Swords speaks to the destroyer, what needs to be removed for you to move forward. You have to make some painful decisions, and you could be at cross purposes or stalemate. There are past hurts that are coming up for you that you have to deal with, but it's a mental thing, it's not a physical thing. You are emotionally hurt because this is about your intellect. Swords again is about your wisdom, your intelligence. And we went through what the moon in Aquarius is all about. We went through that the moon wants you to form relationships, it wants you to socialize in Aquarius, but there are some past decisions that you made that have hurt you, and you have to remove those past hurts for you to move forward. This is what this Two of Swords is telling you about, and the Two of Swords is telling you that at the end of the day, it's going to be painful for you to forget. Probably you shared in the past, and people still bad talked you, or there was gossip about you, or there was a cross purposes. Probably your speech was not as clear as it could have been, or you did not spend the time that you were supposed to spend to explain, that you felt that you had other things to do, and you moved on quickly from what you had given in the past. And that can be the clarification here, that you did not spend enough time to explain yourself. You probably felt you were above that or beyond that, and expected people to just take what you gave them, and understood that it came from your heart, and not that it came from you wanting to be the hero or the martyr at that point in time. So take the time now. Mentally, you are going to feel that hurt because people misunderstood you in the past, probably. But take the time now, because the cards are telling you that. Sun in Gemini is telling you that. Moon in Aquarius is telling you that. Take the time to create those partnerships, and don't leave as quickly as you did the last time. Don't do that. And then we have Mercury here with the Knight of Wands. And the Knight of Wands is about sudden arrival. It's about great new beginnings. It's about unfinished projects, personal projects that you didn't finish, or that you want to hurry to. And again, Mercury here is in the alignment of this Knight of Wands in this tetractys spread, and this is the Harmony line, where you get balance, where you have the Destroyer, which was the Two of Swords. You now have the Sustainer, which is the Knight of Wands, and Mercury is here in Taurus with Venus, and Mercury is in Taurus. And Mercury in Taurus finds itself, you know, your speech, your communication here, it's a reliable zodiac sign for Mercury. You feel that there's a sturdy environment that you can relate your communication. You can give of yourself, you know, that you can maintain a balanced life by doing things, by following through. But this card tells you that sometimes there is no follow through because you want to go quickly from one to the next. And Sun in Gemini told you that. Sun in Gemini told you that, you know, you want to start something but you want to move on. And here Knight of Wands is telling you the same, that you have no follow through. You know, you are great at beginnings but you are not great at endings. And your speech, your communication may bring disharmony. That how you deal with things, how you speak to people, how you talk to them and then leave them hanging, you don't explain yourself properly to them. This is aligning itself to the two knights here are really telling you that you leave things in abeyance. You start things, you don't complete them, and people get the wrong impression of you. But it's not that your intention is bad, or your intention is that, you know, that you're giving because you have and they don't have. No, that's not your intention. But you are going about it the wrong way, because you are starting things, you are leaving, you are not explaining what it is you really want, that you want a relationship with them, that you want a friendship with them, that you want to be within their circle, not to show off, but to help, to give gratitude, not to be a miser, not to be a hoarder like the Six of Pentacles, but to make that choice that you want to give of yourself to be in a relationship. So that choice gives you that relationship. But the Knight of Swords, the Page of Swords here, and the Knight of Wands, they are telling you that the message that you are sending and the action that you are taking does not give that impression. That the impression is that you leave unfinished business and that you start something that you don't complete, and so that your power balance is affected, and now your harmony balance is affected. So that then we have the final card here in the harmony row, which is the Nine of Swords. And again, this is about intellect. So you start with communication, you take action, but it tells you have to complete the communication. And this is the Creator card, and it's what drives you in a new direction. You know, it's deep sorrow, unhappiness, mental anguish. You're sick with worry, you're stressed out, you have a breaking point. You know, you're at your wit's end as to what to do. But the cards are telling you here, and this to take the time, make the choice that gives you the friendship and the power. Make the choice that doesn't leave things unfinished. Make the choice that you take a decision and you stick with it. You don't physically leave people hanging, because you might be a vital part of the solution. Your presence is what creates the union and the partnership and the relationship. If you are not there, then you cannot create that union, that partnership, that relationship. You know, and this Nine of Swords is aligned to Pallas, and Pallas is another name for Athena in Greek mythology, the goddess of wisdom. And I hope you understand how I've linked Hebrew, Greek, the Tree of Life, the Tree of Knowledge, Tarot, and Vedic astrology, because they all interconnect, they all tell us something, they all can teach us something. So this tarot line here now, this balance, this harmony, how we gain balance is through our mental capacity, our communication, and wisdom. And the Nine of Swords is telling us that yes, we have worries and we have anxiety, but the choices we make can end up with that. If we take the time to give of ourselves instead of our material gains only, then we are going to end up with still that, you know, you're wit's end, that you can't form that relationship. That relationship keeps breaking. So if you make the choice that does not break that relationship, then you will not have this heartbreak, this joyless mental anguish. Because use wisdom here. Use wisdom in the Nine of Swords. Don't be anxious and, you know, relentless in your pursuit of something new, and you forget what is in your hand, you know, what you have. At the end of the day, Mercury in Taurus is very practical and determined, so that you can get that anxiety out of the way, you know, with Mercury in Taurus. And concrete values and practical perspectives are likely to take on a greater significance for us during this transit, because our communication is in Taurus. Mercury is in Taurus, and that is reliable, stubborn, you know. We may not have wishful thinking. Our imagination and wishful thinking will take a back seat because we are logical, we are reasonable. So our action has to be logical and reasonable. It has to be sturdy and reliable. We cannot want to start something and not finish it. And the Knight of Wands is very active and gung-ho and wants to go into a new adventure without thinking about everything, you know. You think after you act. That is not what Mercury here is telling you, because Mercury here is telling you that you are in Taurus. Your imagination and wishful thinking has to take a back seat. You have to be logical, you have to be reasonable, you have to understand that your action has consequences. And if your action in the consequences with the moon only deals with what you want to give and then leave, then that is not going to be a good decision for you. You are going to get mental anguish, you are going to get mental unhappiness, you know. So that Mercury is telling us, have conversations and fresh thoughts, because we are given the gift of stability. So we're able to take our time, plan our path, create a strong foundation that can benefit our future, where the Nine of Swords doesn't bring us mental anguish and mental pain. And then we have in the material world, we have Saturn here telling us the card is Temperance, and Saturn is retrograde. And when Saturn is retrograde, it tells us, think about the work that we left unfinished. Think about what we didn't complete, because Saturn is now in that boomerang stage where the arrow is being pulled back to come forward. And the arrow here is telling us Temperance, the material world. How are we coping with everyday life? And Temperance is all about balance. It's all about peace. It's all about moderation, perspective, harmonious relationships. So how are we going to gain those harmonious relationships from all that we have been analyzing through the transit of the grahas and clarifying with these cards? We are going to have to make a particular choice. We are going to have to start things that we can finish. We are going to have to make a painful decision. We are going to have to be free of secrets, of hindrances. And it may be out of our hands, because the Lover's card is a major arcana card. But Temperance here is telling us that, you know, we need to be soulmates with ourselves, our inner calm. And Saturn in Aquarius, as we have learned from the last period, Saturn is in a rebellious zodiac sign, which is Aquarius. And Saturn is, you know, it's all about humanitarian networking. It is full of boundless ideas about what will improve the life of others, you know, and how our shared efforts can make the world a better place. And Aquarius rules over groups and visions, and you know, this is the playground of visionaries, inventors, and creators. So this is what Saturn here is telling you with Temperance. Be patient, be humble, take your inner calm and create that balance. you have one foot in the water, but you have one foot grounded. You know, the one foot in the water is telling you deal with your emotions, but your emotions are going to be stable right now. You are going to have logic and reason, and you are going to be productive because you are going to give, or not give, you are going to get that balance where your emotional state is going to be logical and reasonable. And Saturn in Aquarius, you know, the issues here is about bringing the light. It is also about bearing the torch, you know, channeling and finding your mission in life, being odd or being different, thinking outside the box. And you're being odd in friendships, in networking, in politics, music, astrology, and, you know, strongly held positions about change. So this is all about changing how you view relationships, because this is the premise. Remember, the premise is the Lover's card. So that Temperance and Saturn here is telling you, think outside the box. Understand that you are worth something. Understand that you can make the place you can make the world a better place by sharing and not hoarding. And then we have Venus, and Venus deals with our emotions, our exploration of our emotions and how we feel, and the exploration of our emotions comes from the Six of Swords, where we are moving on. Slow healing is in progress. You know, we are in calmer waters. We are trying to find a safe harbor, shelter from the storm. You know, our situation is calming down. We are overcoming difficulties here, and this is a journey. This is a journey that we are taking, but in calmer waters, looking for a safe harbor. And the safe harbor is all about our mental capacity. The safe harbor is the premise of the Lover's card. The safe harbor that we are going to journey into is the relationship, and the relationship is networking, family, yourself, your spouse, your children. So this is where Venus wants us to go. You know, that we are exploring our emotions about our relationship, our partnership. That is what we are exploring. And then we have in the strategies and goals, the card here we are dealing with is the Eight of Pentacles, and the Eight of Pentacles is held by Jupiter, and Jupiter is all about beneficial, you know, giving. It's about expansion, it's about the guru, it's about teaching. And the Eight of Pentacles talks about success, financial security, being master of what you are dealing with, expertise in a specialized area. You know, you are hardworking, you are highly skilled. And Jupiter here is in Pisces. Jupiter is home, and Jupiter in Pisces is all about beyond reality. You are thinking beyond the box. You are thinking spiritually, with compassion, with empathy. And you know, Pisces is the quintessential water sign, necessary for all life. The planetary ruler of Pisces is king of the sea, Neptune. And you know, water is a great dissolver, the mover of matter, the common substance that connects us all. Water gives us the common all and above it all, that we have everything connected. We can embrace everything simultaneously. And Jupiter conjoins with Neptune here in Pisces, and the last time that this happened in Pisces was in 1856. And you know, this is really a conjunction that we can speak of in another video, but it is something great that tells us spirituality and empathy and compassion for others is what is going to come out of this conjunction. You know, there's going to be a transcendence of the soul and the spirit, that we are going to embody all of life, and we are going to be above it, because we are going to think about others, because we are going to have empathy and compassion for others. And the Eight of Pentacles is telling you that use your success for this. You know, use your success to understand that you cannot be above it all. You have to be all of it. because you are the person who will create this relationship. You are the person who is going to have this foundation of stability that is going to create that relationship for you. You are going to get success from union, because this is the premise of it. You know, you are going to get this. So use the wisdom of Jupiter here, the compassion and the wisdom that Jupiter is giving you here, to understand that you have to use your empathy for others. You have to share, and this has been the message, you know, that yes, you have, but you need to share. However much you have, however little you have, you need to share, and you need to stick around for people to get the proper message, and not for you to be misunderstood, to bring you the Nine of Swords of mental anguish and fear and stress. And the final card that we have here is Mars card with the Three of Swords, which is talking about heartbreak. You know, that physically a heartbreak is going to come out to you, trauma, grief expressed, because Mars is in Pisces with Jupiter, and Mars is you know, Mars shows what motivates us and what activates our physical vitality, that sets our goals in motion, so that we want to be successful, we want to be stable financially. But Mars is telling us that we can't act right now, because Mars in Jupiter is all about being in an emotional state, that you act on your dreams and your spiritual longings rather than you acting on something physically. You know, Mars in Pisces is open and often without boundaries, and you know, Mars instinctively tells you to protect yourself by staying in the background, you know. So probably you need to give of yourself, but remain in the background. Don't leave, but don't push yourself forward, because not everyone will understand Mars here. Mars, they may feel, you know, you have the resources through the Six of Pentacles and the Eight of Pentacles, and that you are gifted, so you need to be in the forefront. No, you don't need to be in the forefront. That may not be your forte, that may not be your strength for this period. Your strength will be to give, but remain in the background. Let the people's wishes come to you, let your partner's wishes come to you, their dreams and their goals come to you, so then you can act on it. You can be the Page of Swords by giving them the resources, by giving them your physical strength there, but in the background. Don't be the Knight of Wands, that you start something and then want to leave and leave people in the lurch. Stay in the background. That is what the Three of Swords is telling you, with Mars as the Graha, because Mars is in Pisces. And you know, Mars in Pisces, not everyone will understand Mars in Pisces, because Pisces, you know, you judge them as passive and maybe losers who don't jump on opportunities. But it's not that. You are remaining in the background, and by you remaining in the background and not taking charge and putting your ego in front and your physical strength in front, people are not going to misunderstand the message. The true message is going to get through to them, that you want a relationship, you want to be part of the network, you want to understand the group, you want to be part of the visionary movement forward. You know, that the secret gift here is your ability to give over to somebody else, to let go of your ego, to let go of your need to be in front. You know, that at the soul level you are giving from your heart. You don't want to be recognized for giving monetary or material assets. You want to form a partnership, and what you can share right now to initiate and create that partnership is material things. But don't push yourself forward and want to be the leader because you have given something. Stay in the background, lend your support silently, lend your support with emotion and empathy, and not with action. You know, that is what this card is telling you. Otherwise, you're still going to have that heartbreak and that mental anguish coming from the Nine of Swords. You are still going to be misunderstood from the Knight of Wands and the Page of Swords. So take balance from Temperance, That is what Saturn wants you to do, because Saturn is a long-term graha. Saturn is going to remain in Aquarius until October and until July, I think, and then move down back retrograde to Capricorn. But then in 2023 it comes through in Aquarius. So that this is a long-term planning. This is long-term. This is not a quick grab and run or grab and go. This is long-term planning for your relationship, for your foundation to be made, for you not to be misunderstood, and for you not to have mental anguish from the decisions that you're making mentally and physically. So this is the transit of the grahas, giving you the alignment of the tarot with the grahas where they are currently placed for the period June 19th to July 2nd, 2022. Here I have done the analysis of the tarot with the transit of the grahas, and we are just going to look at the deities and the energies that surrounds this analysis. And the first energy that we came up with was from the 10th bhava, the 10th house. And the 10th house is all about responsibility, becoming a person of power and status, your career. And the career, this is telling you that your relationship here, you know, can also be affecting your career, that you need to probably look at how your relationships in your career can be affected by the decisions that you make, how it affects your family, how it affects your friends. So that, you know, the 10th house is you being responsible. Then we have fire, you know, the action. And what did we get about the fire? Fire, the element, is all about action and passion, and Mars. And Mars here in this reading is telling you, be empathetic, be on the softer side of Mars, not the action side of Mars. You know, you can be a little misunderstood if you stay in the background, but give of yourself, not of what you have. That is what the fire is telling you and Mars is telling you. And then we have isolation. And you know, this card is telling you, isolate yourself a little bit, but don't take yourself out of the equation. You know, isolate yourself a little bit by understanding you are different, that you can still be an asset in your silence and you being in the background, because you have given the speech, you have communicated your needs. Now it's for the others to understand, and that is outside of your control, because lovers is outside of your control. For you to form a relationship, somebody else would want to have that relationship with you. You cannot force that relationship. So that isolate yourself a little bit, but stay within the group, stay within the ambit of the community, the ambit of the network, the ambit of work of the 10th house, which is your career. And then we have, you know, Narada Muni, the sage of the gods, where the messages are going to come through meditation, where the messages are going to come through music. And this is telling you, you know, take some time for yourself, listen, meditate, probably have a puja, as I said previously. You know, give thanks of what you have and that you can share, and that you have maybe more than others at this point in time that you can share. It's telling you, if you can share in your material ambit, share, but it's really telling you to share spirituality within yourself and with others. Give of yourself, give of your emotions, give of your time, give of your spiritual learnings. Be a teacher, be a consultant, be somebody who is advising based on your experience if you are that person. This is what Narada Muni is all about. And the graha is the same as last week. Graha, the graha here is Pluto, and Pluto is in Capricorn and will remain in Capricorn until 2024. So Pluto is telling you that changes are going to come, and they are going to come for you based on your decision, because the Two of Swords here is about decision, and you are going to gain harmony through your decision, how you communicate, and your wisdom. And you can communicate that will bring you heartbreak, or you could communicate and not rush off, stay and you will gain wisdom. So that we have something unfinished from last period with Pluto reappearing here. Pluto is the god of rebellion. He's the god of the underworld. You know, there might be great transformation suddenly, and the Knight of Wands is telling you that sudden changes, arrival and departures may come. So in your speech can bring things that will give you relationships or break up relationships. And this is what the deities and the energies of the cards are telling us for this period, June 19th to July 2nd. I have left this slide up in my videos mainly for my new subscribers or persons who are not aware of some terminology that we use in Vedic astrology, and how we divide the sky into the signs, the rasis, the nakshatras, the stars and the padas. You know, it may not be terms that you are aware of or that you have used on a day-to-day basis, and this is just giving you a heads up and to give you an understanding of what we mean, or what I mean as ZeedaM Astrology, when I talk about the nakshatras and the padas and the placement of these nakshatras and stars and what it means for your kundali. So join me on this journey and request your report or your kundali so that you can understand what the stars and the universe have in store for you. Okay, before I close off this video, I'd just like to remind you to subscribe, share and sign up at ZeedaMastrology.com or to my channel here on YouTube, where you will get all your readings, your patra readings, your tarot spreads, your runes and crystals inclusive in your reports, and your chakras. Please share, sign up and subscribe. At ZeedaM Astrology, you would understand now that I always give thanks to Bhagwan for him allowing me to complete another video and for me to share my knowledge and research with you. You would understand that I do things differently and that I have included tutorials in my slides where you can skip over if you're not a new subscriber or client, but it gives you an insight into how I think, how I analyze, and why I do what I do at ZeedaM Astrology. I thank you for listening, and I hope something new and exciting enters your thoughts and enables your dreams. Be safe, happy and healthy until we meet again, and hope to see you next time. Bye.